This is Simcast TV. You are on to politics and you. Good morning. My name is Simeone. To get most of our contents on politics and other interesting issues, hit the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel. Election in Nigeria. Good governance beyond the presidency. Whenever Nigerians want to express their desire for good governance, justice, and equity during the election period, they focus their attention on who becomes the president. The question is, does the president solely responsible for good governance, justice, and equity of any nation? Every nation is governed by a system put in place by the law called the Constitution. The law or the Constitution can be a collective decision or authoritatively promulgated. The Constitution that is widely accepted to be just and fair is the one that has passed through democratic process. Every institutional unit of the nation from local, state, and federal were consulted and represented. The question once again is, does this Constitution guarantee good governance, justice, and equity? In pursuit for good governance, Nigerians have been dragged through two systems of governance that I mentioned earlier, that is, the government constituted through democratic process and the military that governed with authoritarian law called decree. Between 1963 and 1966, immediately after 1st October 1960 independence, the First Republic was in place, governed through the First Republican Constitution. The Federation was in the form of the Westminster system. Why could this system not sustain good governance, justice, and equity? In 1966, the military adventurers drove into governance and ruled by decree, promised restoration of good governance, justice, and equity. Their adventure plugged Nigeria into crisis that led to civil war. Nigeria emerged from the crisis and entered into a second republic through another democratic process in 1979. During the Second Republic, good governance also again eluded Nigerians as corruption spread like wildfire. Military, as usual, claimed to know how to fix things, seized power from the presidential Shagari-led administration. The military regime reigned from 1983 until 1992, when General Ibrahim Babangida started the process of returning Nigeria back to democracy for the Third Republic. But it was just an unsuccessful exercise. With all of the military incursion into governance from 1983 to 1999, they were unable to fix Nigeria into good governance, justice, and equity. From 1999 until date, democracy has thrived in Nigeria, but the cry for good governance, justice, and equity persists. Where does the problem lie? Is it the Constitution that is faulty? Is it lack of good leadership? Is it the citizens themselves? Welcome back. I am on to a political analyst from Lagos to air his view on some questions raised in this presentation, Good Governance Beyond the Presidency. What is your take on this?
What we have in Nigeria is that the manifesto is focused more on the presidential candidates than other candidates, forgetting the fact that the election is constituted not just by the presidential candidates, but also by members of the National Assembly, who are, members of a federal constituency, and that's the Senate or House of Reps, and then at the state level, members of the House of Assembly. We don't really call them out in terms of what do you intend to manifest in terms of manifesto. The focal point has always been presidential candidates.
Whom should Nigerians hold accountable for good governance, and what is the role of the Constitution to attain good governance?
In terms of holding candidates accountable, or even parties accountable, since we don't have independent candidates, right? In elections, post when they win offices is the fact that dovetails into a lot of things. If, for example, the biggest manifesto in Nigeria that is contained in something called the Grand Norm, the highest law of the land, which is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chapter 2 of the Constitution, fundamental objectives and directives of state principles, through which other candidates' manifesto is being severed through. Chapter 2 of the Constitution. And I challenge Nigerians to read Chapter 2 of the Constitution, as it were. You see that the interesting thing about Chapter 2 is that it is non-justiciable, which means that the Constitution in Chapter 2 talks about education. So a candidate telling you that they want to provide education or, quality education is not a new thing. The Constitution in Chapter 2 provides a blueprint. In fact, the education is supposed to be free education, primary, secondary, and the essence of that is to democratize education considering the economic situation of the country that we are in.
Thank you. Send your comments via the comment section or send your views and opinion to simi@simcasttv.net. See you in the next episode.